In this hand, you're playing a $95 super satellite. You're a ways away from the payout. So right now you're just playing for chips. Button is sitting out. So you go ahead and raise with a queen four of spades. And you get called by the big blind, who you don't know a ton about. The board comes ace of spades, jack of hearts, four of hearts. It's check to you. Here, would you like to check or bet? You go ahead and bet here, and you bet 1.38 big blinds into 5.5, and he makes it 4.75 big blinds. It's on you. Would you like to fold, call, or raise? You decide to go ahead and call here, and the turn is the 10 of spades, and he checks to you. It's on you. Would you like to check or bet? If you did want to bet here, how much did you want to bet? What do you think about betting something like 18.5 big blinds into 15 big blinds and securing the fold? Let's discuss why we did that. So, breaking down this hand, the pre-flop raise is a little loose, but with the player sitting out, sure, fine. And on the flop, this is actually a really good board for us because our opponent in the big blind most likely would have three bet with aces or jacks versus we have aces or jacks in our range. So we could definitely fire a number of barrels at this player should they call us. And just because a lot of their range will be very weak pairs and it's easier to rule out some of the better combinations. Now, they decide to go ahead and check raise here, which, okay, fine. Now, a lot of people will do this with a wider range now. So we do go ahead and call with a number of backdoor draws and a pair. Now, when they check on this turn, we have to think about what hand that is. So what happens is this opponent just likely told us that they have one pair. Because if our opponent had two pair, for example, they would look at all the flush draws and straight draws and think to themselves, maybe I should bet right now to simultaneously protect my hand and get money from my hand. If they had a set, they would likely think the same thing there with the multiple flush draws and straight draws. So the best hands are likely betting for value and to protect their hands. So what is actually comfortable checking on that turn? Well, what makes perfect sense is something like ace five. So a lot of people, if they flop top pair there and they see that very small continuation bet on the flop, they think to themselves, well, I don't really want to call when there's possible draws out there. Because if I just call this small bet on the flop, it's really likely that hero could just check back turn and get two cards for a really low price. So in order to dissuade hero in this hand from being able to purchase a turn in river for very cheap, this person could certainly check raise with some top pairs, and maybe some people like to do it with second pairs, although you see that less often. However, when that turn comes the 10 of spades and the board gets a little bit more dangerous, they're more likely to go, okay, maybe I don't want to value bet at this point. I don't think I'm getting worse to call me. I'll check here and I'll call a reasonable bet. Now it's on you at this point to not make a bet that pairs want to call. You have a lot of equity going into the river. Our opponent more or less just told us they have one weak pair. They probably didn't just check raise absolute air on that board. A lot of people won't check raise the ace high board, while the two Broadway ace high board with a flush draw with just air. So that's really likely to be a pair. And the better combinations would have likely followed through on the turn. So it's more likely to be a pair. And pairs aren't going to fold to 1/3 pot or 1/2 pot or 2/3 pot. They're far more likely to fold if you overbet. And if you get called, there's still a number of cards that are good for you on the river. Hey, if you enjoyed this, well, first of all, thank you for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this, check out my website, pokerheadrush.com. That website, one more time, pokerheadrush.com. Take care. See you for the next one of these.